Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Zenless Zone Zero video, and today I'm going to do a best W engine for every character in this game guide. It's going to start very free-to-play friendly, very light spender friendly, and it will get more specific as the video goes on. I have stayed free-to-play for a long time on this account. I've still yet to spend $1 because seeing what the free-to-play experience is like is very important as a content creator. So I'm going to start this video with some very generic options that you can use on so many different characters because your resources are strapped as a free-to-play player. You're spending everything you got to level up your units, build teams. W engine experience and W engine like ascension material can find the back burner. So if you are investing your energy and your time into those, especially as a free-to-play player, you want them to be useful across a lot of characters. So later when you fill in maybe more specific W engines that fit more specific units, you can take the one you've already built and easily move it to somebody else. That's the focus. I also want to say, hey, this channel's growing pretty well right now. If you're one of the 10,000 or so people that's watching a video here every day and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're at like 600 and some subs. We're growing. Also, my Discord link is in the description. Let's start this video off and notice my Koleda right here. My Koleda is rocking a C rank, or I'm sorry, there's no C rank, anything in this game, a B rank W engine, and it's actually pretty decent for her. I want to show you some generic options that you can invest in that will be good for attack type units and support type units that if you level up you won't feel bad. And I'm going to start with a couple attack options. So what you see on the screen here are Starlight engine and Cannon Rotor. Now Cannon Rotor is the battle pass engine. I think a lot of people who are light spenders, the battle pass is one thing they will buy, and so this becomes an option for you. And I'll start with that bottom one, the battle pass one, the Cannon Rotor. It increases attack by up to 12%, depending on it's up from 7.5 to 12%, which is again generically very good. And attacks that land a crit on an enemy will inflict additional 200% of attack as damage. That is so good on like almost every attack character in this game. This effect can only be triggered once every 8 all the way down to 6 seconds, depending on how many dupes you get. You can see the stats that it gives you. At level 1, it gives you 46 attack and 8 crit, and at level 6, it gives you 594 attack and a 20% crit rate. This is so great because when you get to the late game, you're going to build a lot of your DPS characters into critical hitting, critical damaging. This will just go with any of them that you want, whether it's a top tier S rank character or an A rank character. And then that one on the top, the Starlight engine, launching a dodge counter or quick assist increases the equipper's attack by 12 to 19.2% for 12 seconds. Again, if you're swapping in and out, which you're doing a lot with your quick assisting and things like that, this will just give a very generically good buff. And you can see it is a purely attack scaling engine. The stats on it, it's level 1, it's 46 attack and 10% attack. At level 60, it's 594 attack with a 25% attack. So I actually like the Cannon Rotor better, but it does require you to spend a little bit of money. And then some great free-to-play options for support characters. You see we've got the Reverb Mark II and the Reverb Mark III. Now the Reverb Mark II is launching an EX special attack or chain attack, increases all squad members anomaly mastery and anomaly proficiency by up to 16. And on these, since the support ones that I think are like free-to-play friendly are B ranks, you probably already have enough to hit that 4 duplicate version with 6, so the 16 on the proficiency for 10 seconds, and this effect can trigger once every 20 seconds. Passive effects of the same do not stack. The stats on it has 37 attack and 16% energy regeneration, and I love the energy regeneration on this, up to 475 attack and 40% energy regeneration at level 60. So I absolutely love that as a B rank W engine for a supporter type character. And then the Mark III, launching a chain attack or ultimate, increases all squad members attack by 12% for 10 seconds. You can trigger that once every 20 seconds. So for basically half the fight, once you start using chain attacks and ultimates, your whole group's gonna have a 12% attack buff. That's a great group buff from your support character. The stats on this, it gives attack and HP, and you can see at level 60, it's giving 475 attack and 20% experience. So I think those are great investments early. And if later, and we're going to go through every character next, if you catch a W engine for a specific character and it forces you to like move one of these off, very easy to slot into another character for maybe like your second team or something like that. So I would invest into those early. That's what I've done on my account. Now what I want to do is go character by character. We'll start with the S ranks, and this is going to be, you're going to see a really common theme here. The S rank characters are going to love mostly their unique W engine, but you will see some duplicates come up here of some like A ranks, especially ones we've already looked at. So Ellen, no surprise, her deep sea visitor is her best W engine, right? And if you have that thing, you're definitely already using it. You can see it's an ice damage special one. Now the brimstone, if you've caught this is another S rank W engine that Pridewind actually has as her second best W engine. I'm probably going to say light cone a few times in this video, so I apologize if I do, and I'm going to try to move quickly. If you want to read a little bit more of these descriptions, pridewind.gg, you guys, I use this website all the time. So the brimstone is going to be her second best one, and then guess what? There it is, Starlight Engine, that like free to play option. If you don't want to pull on W engine banners, you have a really good A rank option for Ellen. Then it falls to Steel Cushion, there's Cannon Rotor again, and Street Superstar. You're going to see Street Superstar on here a few times, so I'll go ahead and tell you what this one is. When a squad member launches a chain attack, the equipper gains a charge stack, stacking up to 3 times. Upon activating their own ultimate, the equipper consumes all of those stacks, and each stack increases the skill's damage. This is like, you're going to see this one all the time. I am not a fan of this one. Like when Pridewind is doing their calculations, they're like mathing it out, right? They're saying like, hey, if used properly, all of these things are like this percentage effective. So I don't want to just use this as like a Bible for it, because even though in theory, this thing is almost like 80% effective compared to the 100% effective that Deep Sea Visitor is, that's like if you're good at charging those stacks and then making sure to consume them correctly. So when you see this one on here, Street Superstar, just know I'm not a huge fan of it personally. Okay, that's Ellen. Let's go next to Grace, a character I really wish I had, especially since she's Bellabog, but let's see what hers are. So her best W engines are the Fusion Compiler. Hey, no surprise, her own special S rank. If you are lucky enough to have pulled this thing, it is her best one. Now, she is a little bit different when it comes to the A ranks. Electrolip Glosses is her best A rank W engine, but it's close, in my opinion, in effectiveness to the Rainforest Gourmet. The Electrolip Gloss is when there are enemies afflicted by a tribute anomaly on the field, your attack increases by up to 16%, and you deal an additional up to 25% damage to the target. So this is one that is, once you have an anomaly, once you have an enemy with a tribute anomaly on the field, your damage just goes nuts. And so it's a good option for like longer fights, right? When you're proccing that anomaly, you know, when you proc the anomaly attributes, inflictions. Oh my God. Hey, people, y'all see this in my videos sometimes. People who live down here in Kansas, sometimes our words fall away. Anyway, this is one that when it pops off, will pop off hard. And then Rainforest Gourmet, I'm going to go over this one real quick because you're going to see it a few times on this list. For every 10 energy consumed, you gain a buff that increases your attack by up to 4% for 10 seconds. It stacks up to 10 times. Really good one for just building up your attack. And then notice a couple of things here. There's a couple stats that you see. Anomaly proficiency is very powerful, especially when you're talking about inflicting a tribute anomaly. So these two A ranks have that. And then her Fusion Compiler has penetration. Now, penetration, from what I've heard, from what other content creators and math people have said, is just crazy powerful in this game. So it's no surprise that the Fusion Compiler is Grace's best. Okay, Koleda. Now, Hellfire Gears, hey, shocker, there's a S rank, and then shocker, there's an S rank at number 2. Now, Koleda is a very interesting unit because I've been using her a lot. She's really good at building up your stun, right? Putting that pressure on the enemy, building up your stun, and you're going to see she's getting impact from these two S rank, God, I want to say light cones so bad, W engines. This one, when she's off the field, her energy regeneration increases. I love that. She's somebody you swap in, put some pressure on the enemy, swap back out to your damage dealer. When using her EX special, the equipper's impact is increased by up to 20% for 10 seconds. With these S ranks, I think it's more effective to look at maybe these first numbers. So let's say like 10%, scales eventually up to 20 if somehow or another you pull 5 copies of this throughout the game, and this stacks up to 2 times, which is an insane buff for her. You'll see right here, when an attack hits an enemy, damage and days from basic attacks increases by up to 12% for 8 seconds. Again, this stacks. These are great for that impact, right? They're giving her more impact, which is awesome. Now, her A ranks are a little different. You have Steam Oven and Precious Fossilized Core. Steam Oven, for every 10 energy consumes, your impact increases, stacking up to 8 times, and it gives you energy regeneration on the stats. Love this one. You can kind of see how Koleda's played, right? You want to get things like impact, energy regeneration. That'll help her do what she's meant to do. And then Precious Fossilized Core. I'm going to say right here, not a huge fan of this one. This is one that, again, is recommended a lot by the site, but what I would avoid probably myself. When the target's HP is higher than 50%, that's a weird way of writing that, the equipper inflicts 16% more days. In theory, that's pretty good. When the target HP is higher than 75%, the bonus goes up even more. I like that it gives impact percent, but for me personally, I would take the impact here and energy regeneration over more days here and impact here. Me personally, right? I like Steamed Oven better than Precious Fossilized Core. And then you have Vortex Arrow, baby, like that one I pointed out earlier. There it is. We're just getting more days and more impact, and it's B rank, so you could probably max out 2 of them already. I do dig that. Okay, Rina. Now, this character is the only character in the game that I have an S rank light cone for. But guess what? I don't have her. So this S rank light cone is currently not being utilized by anybody. I could probably find somebody to run it on, but whatever. So her best in slot is her Weeping Cradle, and it gives you energy regeneration when off the field, which is awesome. Attacks from the equipper enhance the squad's damage against a struck target by 10 to 20% for 3 seconds. During this period, this effect is further increased by 1.7 up to 3.3 every 0.5 seconds, up to a maximum increase of 10 up to 20% almost. Repeated triggers only refresh the duration, so you can see it's all about building up your team's damage, right? It also gives penetration, which I think is like an interesting thing for her to help her out a little bit there, but a lot of base attack on this thing. It's a really good, for a supporting character, a really good W engine. But then guess what? Her next best 2 are those 2 B ranks that I showed off. Like, imagine running an S rank character with a B rank W engine. That's the world you live in if you have Rina and don't have her Weeping Cradle W engine. Okay, next up, Soldier 11, my main DPS on my account, and I wish I had Brimstone. Again, she's another character. If you notice with her and Ellen, they have 2 numbers on here because Soldier 11 and Ellen are 2, like, they both have attacks, and then they have attacks where their sword's either on fire or their spear is covered in ice. And so their calculations are different depending on like which one of those modes you are in, but still this all still applies. Now for her, Brimstone is her best one because when you hit an enemy with a basic attack, dash attack, dodge counter, your attack goes up to 7%. Let's just go with 3.5. She probably only got 1 copy. That stacks up to 8 times, and it triggers every half second. That's insane, and you get a ton of attack. You're all about doing attack with her. Now, with a main DPS character like this, I love cannon fodder. Now, to get this, I'm going to have to buy the battle pass, and eventually I am going to buy the battle pass, but you can go with that one or the Starlight engine. Like I said, both of these you're going to see over and over again on these attack characters because of just how generically great they are. And then it falls to like another S rank with the Steel Cushion or the Street Superstar again, which I've told you I don't really like. Okay, A ranks. Now here it gets a little bit more interesting, I think, because what it's going to do is kind of show you with these A ranks, and we're on Anby right now. If I scroll down too quickly, Anby, a lot of times their best in slot is another S rank character's signature. But again, good luck finding those. So Anby's, you have the Restrained and Hellfire gears as her best too. Okay, if you're lucky enough to have those, throw one on and you're gonna feel great about it. You're gonna feel absolutely great. And the Restrained, I think, does a good job kind of showing what Anby's meant to do, because when an attack hits an enemy, damage and days from basic attacks increases. Anby is all about, you know, her like attack with the hold, like that little combo. And so this just synergizes so well with her. It's easily her best one. You're building up your impact and getting attack. Hellfire gears also, again, focused on building that impact. You want impact with Anby, and you're getting that in both of her best ones. This one gives her energy regeneration when she's off the field. So if you're like switching her in, that's great. And then you have Steam Oven and Precious Fossilized Core as her A rank options right here. Those are fine. And then Vortex Arrow. Now this one, I don't hate this one, but I think in this game right now, at least, I've preferred ones that give me a little bit more damage than something like Vortex Arrow, although what it does is pretty great. So if you don't have any of these four, I would say with Anby, if you're going to try to use her, Vortex Arrow is fine to lean into. Or honestly, you could just swap in maybe some other generic one that you've been building. Okay, so there's Anby. Next, Anton. Now, Anton is somebody I'm heavily planning to use as like a main lightning DPS character for my builds. And you can see Drill Rig Red Axis is his main one, and it makes all the sense in the world. This is like this dude's signature thing. So when launching an EX special attack or chain attack, electric damage from basic attacks and dash attacks increases by up to 80% for 10 seconds, and you can trigger it every 15 seconds. So if you don't know how, you know, our boy Anton works, you want to get his fist energized, right? And then his attacks are like lightning damaging attacks, sort of like Soldier 11 and Ellen, right? And so this boosts that electric damage by a huge margin, and it gives 50% energy regeneration at level 60 with a bunch of attack. It's insane. Then you have Brimstone, you know, another signature S rank that he can work with, or again, there's your generic A ranks. If you don't have his or Brimstone, you can go to Cannon Fodder or Starlight Engine and feel good about yourself. Now, Big Ben, I've used Big Ben a lot. Big Ben likes Spring Embrace or Original Transformer or Identity Base. He's weird. Here's the thing with Ben. Right now, he's our only defense character in the game. He likes defense more than anyone else by far. So like generic things have a hard time necessarily applying to Ben. Can you use those generic support options I showed earlier on him? Yes, you can. And he'll like those just fine. But these three are going to be a little bit better. This one reduces the damage you take, and when when attacked, your equipper's energy regeneration increases. You want to get your energy regeneration up. That's really good. And when he switches off field, this is the best part of this one, the buff transfers to a new on-field character with the duration refreshed. Thinking of somebody like Soldier 11 who really needs energy regeneration, I love this one because Ben is not somebody you want in there just like autoing, right? He gets in, he does his thing, he gets out. This is so good for him because while he's in there, he's taking less damage, he's giving a shield to your group, you swap him out, he gives a buff to whoever he swaps out with. That's awesome. Original Transmorpher gives him HP and impact, which he will love a lot. And then Identity Base, this, like, I would hesitate to level this one because right now in the game is really only good for him. It just gives a ton of defense, which a lot of his kit, I mean, basically his whole kit scales off of defense. His whole identity scales off of defense. So I get why that's a thing for him, but I would use one of these A ranks or another support A rank on Ben, at least in the early parts of this game right now, when we're not like min-maxing to the extreme. Okay, Billy. Billy is next. Old Billy like Starlight Engine Replica, and it's a physical damage increase on hitting an enemy at least 6 meters away. So stay far away from the targets, give yourself this physical damage buff for 8 seconds. You don't have to stay far away. You just hit them from far away, get the buff, and then you can do whatever you want. You can see it just gives a ton of attack. That's what Billy's there for, is to attack. Then you have a couple signature, you have Soldier 11 and Nekomata's signature engines right there, and then Starlight Engine, one of those generic options I referenced at the beginning of the video. That would be just fine for him. And I hope you're seeing at this point how often those ones I recommended at the beginning kind of just keep appearing. right? Because you can just use them all over the place. Okay, Corrin. Corrin's a character I really want to use at some point, but I think I'd still just hope I pull Ellen and kind of negate Corrin's usefulness because Ellen's OP. But anyway, Housekeeper. So when off the field, energy regeneration increases. You'll love to see that. And when an EX special attack hits an enemy, the equipper's physical damage increases by 4.8%. Wait, am I crazy here? I mixed Corrin up with no, right. Yeah, I'm sorry. She's Victoria's housekeeping like Ellen is. That's where my brain went. Anyway, she's a physical damage dealer. She's you know, saw blading everybody. Anyway, so if you rotate her out, she gets energy regeneration. She increases her physical damage, stacking up to 15 times, which is insane. And yeah, she's gonna be like spinning her blade on people and hurting them. If you don't have this one, guess what? Here's those generic options from the beginning of the video again. You throw one of those on and you feel good about it, unless you're lucky enough to have Steel Cushion, which Steel Cushion appears all the time, but you know, yeah, that's an S rank. You'd have to like off banner on the standard banner. And I'm just assuming most of us don't have all that stuff. Lucy, another character I have used a ton. Kaboom the Cannon. I actually have this one on her, but I've often just been running one of these other generic options for the reason I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Leveling up W engines, it's just not something I got a bunch of resources for. So if I've leveled up these two, even if I pull this, it's hard for me to like sacrifice skill ups on Soldier 11 or levels on another character I want to build in favor of another W engine. So I've really just been using these two on her, but Kaboom the Cannon is really good for her. When a friendly unit in the squad attacks and hits an enemy, all squad members' attack goes up for 8 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. That's crazy good. Like, that's crazy good. And the duration of each stack calculated separately, and each friendly unit can provide 1 stack of the buff. This gives energy regeneration, which I like a lot for her, and you can see Mark II also gives that energy regeneration. So that's Kaboom the Cannon. That's Lucy's best in slot. Okay, Nicole, a unit who, when our next banner unit, Juan, oh my god, I'm gonna hate that whole banner for having to say that name. Nicole will become more relevant at that point. You're gonna start seeing a lot more people play Nicole to pair with our new police waifu. Anyway, her best W engines are Weeping Cradle. So again, given that off-field energy, I already have this. Like I said, I pulled this one. It's Rina's. So that's the best one. Then the Vault. Now, ether damage. So this is definitely her signature one. Using an EX special attack, chain attack, or ultimate increases all squad members' damage against the target by 15 to 24% and increases the equipper's energy regeneration by up to 0.8 for 2 seconds. This one is crazy good. Now, obviously, it's only crazy good for Nicole. And right now, it's very hard to use Nicole because she doesn't have an S rank partner to throw in there unless you're using Nekomata and building a Cunning Hares team. But when Juan comes out, I think the Vault goes, I mean, again, unless you have Weeping Cradle, which is just bonkers, the Vault becomes really good. Or if you don't have either, hey, look, there's our generic options from the beginning of the video again that you can use on Nicole. Okay, Piper, free to play goddess herself, Piper. Here's hers, Roaring Ride. I have this one. I've leveled it a little bit. I like Piper a lot. So when an EX special attack hits an enemy, one of 3 possible effects. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have this one. I do have this one. I haven't leveled it. I don't love this one a lot because it's randomness, but you'll see. When an EX special attack hits an enemy, one of 3 possible effects is randomly triggered for 5 seconds. This effect can trigger once every 0.3 seconds. The same types of effects cannot stack. Retreated triggers reset the duration, allowing several effects to be active at once. Oh no, I do like this one. I'm sorry. My brain's all over the place right now. Having to say Juan's name just blows my mind into oblivion. Anyway, this is ranked 1 because it's assuming you're going to have all 3 of these up, and you probably will. Piper is a DPS unit. She is meant to kill people, and she's meant to stack this right here and proc that physical explosion, right? I forget exactly what it's called, but you know, when physicals stack their circle and boom, that's what Piper's here to do. Spin to win, stack that. This helps her do it, and she annihilates people. Piper is a top tier A rank unit in this game right now if you're trying to do physical damage. Like, fight me about it. Then if you don't have that, Fusion Compiler is an S rank that's a good option, or Electro Lip Gloss and Rainforest Gourmet make a couple more appearances. If you have one of those, you could also just use one of the generic attack ones from earlier. But if you have Roaring Ride and you want to feature Piper on your account, this might be a case where I would just lean into Roaring Ride. It's crazy good for her. And then it's Soukaku, one of the other best A rank units in this game. I've done one lap of Ellen's banner, right? Not one lap, one full round of pity on Ellen's banner, lost the 50-50, maxed Soukaku. I have every dupe. She's the first character in this game that I have all duped out. I do not have the materials to level her. She's stuck at like level 10. But I have her duped out. Anyway, Bashful Demon. This is her signature. It's her best one. Ice increases ice damage by 24% at max when launching an EX special attack, which, you know, boom, sticking her flag in the ground. All squad members get a up to 3.2% attack buff that stacks up to 4 times. Re-triggering refreshes the duration, and this gives her attack and attack. So she's in there doing damage and buffing your team, which is what she's in there to do. If you don't have this, you do have those generic support options from earlier that once again rear their very special heads. Okay, bit of a longer video. This one ran up to like 25 minutes, but I think there's a lot of good info in there if you are trying to figure out which W engines to invest in. If you're a spender, obviously you can be a little bit more specific. If you're a free-to-play player or a low spender, well, those generic options, I hope that's useful info for you. There you go. Hey, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Hit that like, put a comment down in the comment section if you know like a more generic one, or maybe you just got lucky. Somebody posted a screenshot in my Discord earlier. They pulled on Ellen's W engine banner. I think it was her first pull. It looks like it might have been their first pull. Hit 2 copies of it. Get out of town. Go away. That's the kind of, or send some of that luck my way anyway. Okay, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.